What's up, people? Welcome to the first episode of Trucker Logic. My name is Rob, and I'm going to use this first episode here to kind of explain what I'm doing. And in short, I'm on a mission to bring back logic, because obviously it's gone. It's gone. The logic is gone. Today is April 27th, 2023, and we're still living in a never-ending episode of South Park. A totally upside down clown world that really makes no sense to anybody that can think logically and critically. And I know you guys are out there. I know a lot of you are afraid to say something or afraid to admit it, even to yourselves. But that's the good thing about watching a video. You can admit something to yourself and save face with everybody else by not having to admit it publicly. But really, I feel weird. I feel weird trying to put myself on a mission to bring back logic, something that actually every human being is outfitted with. You know what I mean? Since the beginning of time, humans have used logic and critical thinking to navigate themselves through a pretty unsecure and unsure, unsafe world. A world in which there's no guarantee of outcome at all. No matter what decision you make, there is no guarantee that that decision will be the right one. And so, rather than just purely guessing, or flipping a coin, humans have luckily been outfitted with the ability to use logic and critical thinking. Sorry, you gotta ignore my truck. As you can see, I'm in the cab of my rig and I'm driving down the highway, so you might hear the truck make certain alerts or noises or something during some of the podcasts, but that's to explain what it is. So where was I? So yeah, logic and critical thinking has been the one thing that's been able to help humans advance to the point that we are. And when logic is ignored and decisions are made and situations are analyzed based purely on emotion and gratification, then things usually go wrong. It usually goes wrong. And up till maybe, I would say in my life, it's been up till about 5 years ago, that illogical decisions weren't really affecting me, in my life. But now, the number of people in Western civilizations that have basically took out logic out of their skill set and just threw it away is so great that there's public policy and life-altering decisions being made on my behalf by people who either cannot or will not use the ability they have to critically think and use logic to get to a certain outcome. And it's turning out that not only is it not funny anymore, it's starting to actually become dangerous. And so I couldn't do anything else. Okay, shut up. All right.
Zwischen B, A61 und Bad 9a, Ringen, A61, 5 Minuten Verzögerung.
I just turned the volume off. All right. So I couldn't just idly sit by and watch everything around me go completely to shit and be a victim of that without trying to do what I think should be done. And that's to reintroduce logic into decision making, especially and namely when it comes to public policy and cultural issues. Because look, that's the way humans have survived since the beginning of time, and it's always worked to our benefit. It's always worked out for us, and there is no reason in my mind that we should be just throwing that shit away and forgetting it even existed. So that's my mission, bringing back logic, and I'm welcoming anybody that wants to help me on that mission. Look, and I'm gonna break down all kinds of situations in the coming podcasts, all kinds of issues that we've been discussing and talking about, or will be discussing and talking about, and I'm gonna look at them through a logical lens and explain them through a logical lens so that we can train our logic muscle together, people. You know what I mean? because that's what it is. It's not something that if you never, it's not like riding a bike, you know what I'm saying, that if you don't use it, you know, you're going to forget to use it. And especially if you face no consequences. And I think that's the biggest problem today is that we're living in a world that is being run by people that have lived in such an easy, non-combative, luxurious world. You know what I'm saying? We all have grown up in the West. All the people that grew up in the West have basically had, if you're my age or a little or younger, have had basically a pretty easygoing life in compared to how the world was before us. You know, and it's gotten so easy and so decadent that Western civilizations have the luxury to make decisions based purely on emotion and not on logic, because they face no consequences for their emotional decisions. At least not consequences big enough to make them change that approach. So, like I said, that's now having an effect on all the rest of us, and something's got to be done. And I think that the only way to do it is for people to speak up like me and explain things in a logical way, you know? And look, we're living in a world where people are getting cowed and getting tormented by a younger generation, something that's never ever happened. It used to always be the older generation taught the younger generation the way of the world. And now the younger generation is telling the older generation, we don't care about reality. We don't want it like this. We want this. We want that. You know, they're screaming at their professors. They're, yelling at their bosses and threatening their bosses. They're threatening their parents, and you know, and the adults are basically just kowtowing to these kids, and on a societal level. It's not just like one city or one group of people or, you know, a certain religion. No, it's basically society at large has now decided that we're going to let the bratty little adolescents tell the rest of the world how it's going to fucking be. And we're just going to go, okay, we're going to kowtow and bow down to the emotional whims of a giant group of adolescents that are supposed to be adults, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Now adults are, you know, they're getting stuck in like permanent adolescence because they're allowed to do so by the actual adults, by the actual older generation. You know, and I never really thought that I was gonna, I never wanted to be that dude that was like the old guy that says, well, it used to be like this when I was a kid. But I mean, I'm being forced into this situation, really. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm being forced into this situation to have to be the old fucker that's telling these young kids, hey, this is how the world works. Because look, the rest of y'all people are not fucking doing it. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing it. Instead, what we're doing is we're catering to these emotional temper tantrums of an adolescent society that is making their decisions and demanding things based on emotion. And it's having a very negative effect on the rest of us. So we've got to make this stop, people. We've got to make this stop. We've got to bring logic back. We've got to revive it from the dead. And that's what I hope to do here on this podcast. And as you can see, I'm starting with absolutely 0 followers. And I need your all's help. You know what I'm saying? Jesus, right now I'm just a crazy guy standing on the soapbox and in the town square. And I hope to reach some people with my message here. Because I think it's important that we band together and start forcing the use of logic. You know what I'm saying? That's something we can all gather around. We can. It's like a North Star to us. It's a compass to guide us through the world. And if we all put our logic together, you know, if we put critical thinking and logic at the forefront of things and put emotion in the back seat where it belongs, I mean, that's just a hard truth. That's where it belongs. Then I think we might be able to get out of this without having to resort to violence at some point. Because where we're headed is a woke totalitarian utopia that nobody wants, and the people that are, you know, that are pushing for it to happen don't even know they don't want it. So we're in a dangerous situation. We need to get ourselves out of it without having to ruin our whole lives to do it. And now's the time for people in the Western worlds and Western societies to start speaking up and forcing logic on the rest of the people. It's that simple. Again, what you do in your private life, on you. You know what I'm saying? When you start affecting other people's lives with your craziness, that's a problem, and we need to put that shit back in its box as fast as we can. So that's my mission, people. That's what we're going to do on this channel. I hope I get some people to join me here, and that'd be great. So if you like this video, you like where this is headed, then subscribe, share, hit notification bells or whatever you got to do on whatever platform you're watching it on to connect with me and share my message out there. Look, I'm also going to keep comments open. I'll try to get to every comment I can. In the beginning, that's going to be pretty easy to do because, like I said, I'm starting off from basically nothing here. But I hope that it grows to the point where I don't have time to answer every comment. But everybody's welcome to leave them. Everybody's welcome to criticize or come up with a better solution to something that I propose. I'm all for it. So there we go. That's it. Then we'll see you on the next podcast, which will be the first topical podcast. And that's going to be about the war in Ukraine and the West's involvement in it and why it's absolutely insane of any Western country right now to have gotten involved as far as they have in the war in Ukraine. It makes no sense. It's totally illogical. And on the next podcast, I'm going to explain why. And do with that what you will, people. All right. Hope to see you again soon.